Hey everyone, so today I am going to guide you through developing the basics on a slightly more advanced topic. What we're going to do is we're going to look at how to develop the feel needed to play something known as a quintuplet. So you might be asking, what the heck is a quintuplet? Well, to understand that, let's take this measure here as an example. So right off the bat, hopefully you understand everything that we've got on here, but we got eighth notes and 16th notes, giving us 2 beats per quarter note and 4 beats per quarter note respectively. We've got a triplet, which is giving us 3 beats, and 16th note triplets, which are giving us 6 beats per quarter. So to kind of sum that together, we've got 2, 3, 4, and 6 beats per quarter note. But we skipped over something, right? What about 5? What about 5 beats per quarter note? Well, that is what a quintuplet is. They're written in a similar fashion as 16th notes, where it's got the double bar up top. But of course, it is slightly faster than a 16th because it has 5 beats instead of 4. Now, if you've already learned triplets from before, you should know that this means that there is an uneven number of hits per quarter note, and this can there could be a slightly odd or awkward feel when you're first learning how to play these. But hopefully, the sticking patterns that we go over today will help you kind of develop this, and it should become more comfortable as you work through it. Okay, so let's jump into the first set of exercises. Now, what I want you to do, how you practice this, is going to be really important. What I want you to do is play just the first measure 2 times through and don't resolve it. In other words, don't play beat 1 of what would be the third measure. So play that first measure twice through and then rest for 2 beats. And then we're going to repeat that process. Now, the purpose of all this stopping and starting again is to try to force you to kind of break away and jump back into the feel of a quintuplet. So as a result, it's really important that when you first start playing the exercise that you're not rushing to catch up or slowing down because you came in a bad spot. So it's really critical that the first hit of the 2 measures is dead on, is totally on. So if you try to start the exercise and you miss it, that's fine. Just stop, wait 2 beats, and try to come in again. You really want to get this to the point where you're so solid that you can do this whole phrasing 4 times through. So that's 2 measures on, 2 beat rest, 2 measures on, 2 beat rest, 2 measures on, 2 beat rest, 2 measures on. Now, what tempo should we be playing at? Well, I would say generally, anytime you're trying to develop feel, you should always start slow. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start at 50 beats per minute, which is quite slow. Now, playing even that slow in itself can be a challenge, but it is super important to developing the feel because it helps you learn and understand how much space is in between each hit of the quintuplet. Now, over time, as you start to get better at this, definitely speed it up, go to 60 and 70 beats per minute. But for when we start, we're going to do 50. Also be careful to make sure that when you play those accents on all the downbeats, that you're not kind of slowing down or speeding up in between the normal hits and the accented hits. That accent should give you just a little bit enough of an interruption in the normal feel where it's going to make you have to really focus on what you're doing. And of course, once you've got that first measure down, then we're going to work on the left hand with measure 2, and we're going to work on the kick with measure 3. But just note that on the kick, we're not doing any accents. For now, let me demonstrate for you just what the right hand exercise is going to look like. Now, that earlier set of exercises, that may take you some time to develop. It could be days or weeks, depending on how frequently you practice and how well you've developed your feel before. But it is super important that you get those solid before you move on to the exercises in set 2. As you can see here, we're keeping with the accents on the downbeats, but only when it's not the kick. Again, we're going to start off with a tempo of 50 beats per minute, but over time, 60 and 70 beats per minute should be your next goals. Now, how we develop these exercises is going to be a little different from what we did before. So this time, what I want you to do is just take one of these lines and just play it 4 times through. And just kind of do that, set multiple times as you try to develop your feel on it. And you can jump around and work on any one of these in out of order. Just again, any one you pick, do it 4 times through. Try to get it to the point where each one of these you have a pretty solid feel on. Once you've done that, then you're ready for the marathon per se. What we'll do at that point is we'll work through playing each measure 4 times through, going directly into the next without stopping, which would be 16 continuous measures in this case. Be sure to stay really focused on the click and make sure that you're nailing those downbeats. Let me demonstrate this to you at 50 beats per minute. Okay, on to the third set, and as you can see, it did not take long for us to make things weird. As you can see, the accent seems to be drifting around now, and in reality, what's really happening is that we have a phrasing or grouping of 4 hits played over our 5-beat subdivision, hence why it seems like the accent is moving. Again, start at 50 beats per minute, work up each individual piece until you have it proficient, then you can go for the marathon. One final thing to note, because the accents move now, you're going to have to really understand where the downbeat is, because it's not going to be associated with the accent every time. Because it's a phrase of 4, you're going to have to understand where in that phrase of 4 you're going to have to be focused on that downbeat occurring. For set 4, we're making things even weirder. So you'll see that the first and fourth measure, how the accents are set up, these are actually groupings or phrasings of 3 beats. Whereas the second and third measure, they're phrasings of 6 beats. So pay very close attention to where the accents are landing in this case. Also, because of these phrasings of 3 and 6, they don't evenly divide into our measure of 4/4. And as a result, there's a little tail at the end. So be very careful, pay very close attention to that tail, and make sure you're not rushing or dragging when you get through that little piece. Here's how the whole thing sounds together. Okay, so set 5 should actually look kind of familiar to you. What we've done is we've gone back to set 2, taken out all the accents, and instead where the accents would have been, we're going to play those on the toms. I'm going to be doing my right hand on my tom 3 and my left hand on tom 1, but you can do whatever you're comfortable with. All the same rules are going to apply, of course. We're going to start at 50 beats per minute, and we're going to build this up. But for this demonstration, instead, I'm going to show you this at 70 beats per minute, a little sped up. For set 6, you'll see that this looks familiar to set 3, but again, we've swapped out the accents for toms, which again means that we're doing phrasings of 4/5. For me, the fourth line here was actually a little bit tricky because I was having to lead with my left, constantly be moving my left hand between the snare and the tom, and I had the bass drum note in between 2 tom hits. So like I said, that was a little tricky for me. Let me show you what that final version looks like at 70 beats per minute. Okay, on to the final set, and as you can see, we're back to phrasings of 3 and 6. Again, pay very close attention to the tail, make sure you're not rushing that part. All right, guys, so I know there was a lot to get through in there, a lot to digest, but hopefully if you've been working through these things, you've been trying to really practice these things over time, that your feel is going to really develop and your ability to start to go into quintuplets from, say, a resting position or even down the road from other subdivision types will be a lot easier for you. I do have other videos like this coming out all the time, other lesson videos and drum gear review videos and tips on recording, all sorts of good stuff. So if you don't want to miss out, then don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, peace.